Hey, David Wood here, and welcome to My Extra Mile. Today's comment winner is a friend of mine, Carol Waldenberg. She was talking about the show I did called Silence the Haters. She said, thank you, David. She said, great message here today. Kindness is absolutely the key. And then she says, you got to do a car show, because I keep recording in the car. Today is one of those shows, Carol. I record it on the way to the gym. And this is all about, one of the most incredible things is about, imagine that, you have a vocabulary, you have a dictionary of words that you have learnt, mainly by modeling. And guess what? None of you have gone through those to see which words you want to keep, which words serve you, which words move you forward, which words help you expand, which words move you towards success, or which words really give you seeds of doubt or apprehension or fear or negativity or shrink you. It's time to rewrite the freaking book. All right, this show is called Words Have Power. It's my solo show. You know what to do, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But remember, please do this. Can you push the notification button so when a new show comes, go and push it? Because guess what? We want to grow the numbers, build the community, and share this with your friends. I will definitely see you on the other side. Hey, David Wood here, and welcome to My Extra Mile. You can see I'm just leaving the gym after my workout, and I mentioned something on a show I just recorded with regards to language, and something I do with all of my my one-on-one coaching clients. I do a thing called radical coaching, radical change. We say if you can't see a radical shift after the first hour, you shouldn't be paying for shit. I'm not a big believer in, I'm sorry if you're a psychoanalyst or a psychotherapist. I understand there is a process, but I still truly, squarely believe in radical change. And one of the first areas I notice when I'm talking to someone, and it's really easy for me, if I'm having a chat with someone, very, very easy for me to see how they live and really understand, what's going on in their relationships, their bank accounts, their bedrooms, just by a short conversation. And a lot of it's the language people use. And language reveals so much. And the language is something that I don't think a lot of people, and you maybe as watching, really does a full inventory on words that you currently are using, and normally or phrases, sentences, words that you're using moment to moment, day to day, sort of daily, that you're using on yourself, and how limiting they can be. There's a great saying that says, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. That's Warren Buffett. The chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. And so I'm just checking the clock on that. The chains of habit when it comes to language is something that often it's inherited. Where do we learn language? We learn language by modeling, quite often parents say something, or grandparents, or your teacher says something, and it becomes your your perception, your language, and it starts to. And if you understand how we create neural pathways in the brain, once you start saying something, first of all, you hear it on the outside. So parents can say something, and this is where a lot of financial blueprints come from, or energy around money comes from. Either having it or losing it, or you see that with a lot of people who go through feast and famine. They have money and then they lose it all. They have money and then they lose it all, right? There's people who have those cycles, right? And so we hear something, and on the external part, it is emotionally charged. Let's say maybe mom's fighting with dad about money. And then we start to say it to ourselves inside our head, and the repetition of those thoughts and words start to build a neural pathway, a road, of how we will live
or what we will then start to speak as if it's ours. And we start to analyze. I see that with my kids. It's like Calvin and I were hiking yesterday, and I asked him. He said something. I said, "Well, Cal," I said, "it just sounds like you've heard that on the internet." So he believes he believes what he believes. This is his truth. But where that belief came from, the root of that belief, is something that he hasn't really looked at. It's just that if he spent hours surfing the internet and reads an article, then if he starts to believe that's true, and he starts to rethink that thing over and over and over again until it becomes fixed, right? And then he'll start living from that position. And that's why some people say things like rich people are greedy, right? That kind of thing. Money doesn't grow on trees. You have to work hard for money, right? This isn't a money program. This is a language program, but I can use it in any way, right? So one of the things I always do with my clients, once I start to hear any word, I'll say, okay, all right, let's start here. That word you just used, I'll just replay it to you, and I'll replay where they'll say, so I need to make more money, or I need to work out, and I'll just say, okay, so tell me, when you say the word need, how does that feel? And often, what does it feel like? Need feels, like it's a pressure, and not a positive pressure. It's quite often, I need to do it. If I don't do it, if I need to do it, there's this energy around the word need. Can't, all these different words. So again, language is everything. And so when I started to redesign my world, first of all, I redesigned my language. I started to notice the things that I said to myself, anything that wasn't, moving me towards what I wanted. First, I got clear on what I wanted. And I kind of knew that one of the things that was most important for me was the word freedom. I think it's for everyone. But for me, freedom is freedom to choose, freedom to say yes, freedom to experience and experiment, freedom to live outside of the norms, freedom to, all these different freedoms. So freedom was so big for me, right? And so once I knew what I wanted, I knew I wanted freedom. Then I started looking at people that had what I wanted, because one of the things I learned in my life was modeling is the quickest and fastest way. Watch someone do something, and model what they do. And because if someone is successful and happy and vibrant, and and they have and exude freedom, then if I think how they think, if I speak how they speak, if I do what they do, it stands to reason that I'm going to get what they have. And that's kind of what I've always done, is I look at things, I look at people, and I model what they're doing. And so language was really important. What I noticed was that I had a very limiting vocabulary, which rooted from how I grew up, and the thoughts of my parents and my mother and father, and the environment and the bullies at school and whatever. I had grown up believing that I wasn't valuable, and I was dumb. I mean, I left school at 15, and I really struggled with reading and writing and simple things, math, all these different things. The 3 R's, as we called it back then: reading, writing, and arithmetic. I was shit at, right? And in fact, I went to a remedial class. And when you go to a remedial class, that if you want to get a label, go to remedial class, and that's what they called it. So kids that couldn't learn. Now, there was no diagnosis back then for ADHD or anything like that, or behavioral problems. There was no such thing as mental health. That wasn't a thing that existed. There was just, little shits and, good kids and so again, going back to language, what I started to identify for myself was any low energy word, any negative stream, any negative thought process, anything that wasn't in alignment with what I wanted. Freedom. So freedom was, if you look at freedom for me, then freedom to be in a good mood. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, regardless what's happening. The freedom to navigate tough situations with grace and ease. Freedom to sort of show up in tough situations with like my friend who just found out about his cancer, to show up with a soft, assertive, gentle, positive energy, right? and not sort of get bought into. So I realized then that how I've been able to accomplish this is by being the designer of the dictionary that I choose to use. I suppose this is a great thing. There's a dictionary you were given, and there's a tonality to that dictionary. So if you think rich people are greedy, right? It doesn't sound, money doesn't grow on trees, It doesn't sound like money doesn't grow on trees, There's a tonality that comes with certain language. Certain language brings with it, defeat, resignation, control, fear, all these different sort of darker energies, with certain dictionaries come along this intonation and this sort of way of, and again, if we understand that our thoughts create how we feel, create the action, create the results, and so, I talk about this all the time. So the results are shitty if we go back a step and say, well, what kind of actions am I taking? Well, why am I taking those actions? Because of how I'm feeling. Why am I feeling this way? Because what I'm thinking about. And typically that comes back to the environment. Well, what I realized was I didn't just have to change the environment of, where I lived and who I hung out with. I had to change the environment of my internal dialogue, which is a big thing, is because even though, I happen so often when I'm driving, right? I just, even though I have a predominantly, I've developed this great language, let's say, and this positive stream. I know that, and people, I have a guy that works with who's in the C-suite. In other words, a high up executive. Every time he sees me, he says, I know, you're great. But he says it with such a cynical tone, because every time I see him, I say, how are you? I say, I'm great, thanks. But what is, it's not like I'm faking. When I say I'm great, I walk in my physiology, my tonality, like when I go in the gym in the morning, I walk in there ready, even if I'm not feeling it. This morning, I had a bit of a lazy day yesterday, Sunday, so it's Monday today. And, I've been laying around, so I felt stiff. And, and I said to my trainer, I said, Shane, I'm feeling a little bit stiff because I laid around and watched a couple of movies yesterday, and I'm not used to just laying around. And he said, yeah, you got a little bit seized up, right? But I still walk in with this positive energy, even though I'm feeling a little stiff. It's like, oh God, I'm feeling stiff. Well, how you doing? I'm doing great. How are you? It's like, I can still feel stiff and say, I'm feeling great. And that feeling great allows me, my physiology, to adapt to my physiology to move differently, which means that everything's firing, and because I'm moving with sort of a positive stream, then I feel good. Because I feel good, it comes out. So it's almost like this little cycle that I realize that my internal dictionary plays a massive role. And people say, fake it till you make it. I don't feel like I'm faking it. I just realize I can have a sore back and feel great. It's just, I feel great, but I got a sore back. What is that? The difference between, just feeling shitty because I have a sore back. Why can't I feel great and have a sore back? I know this it sounds ridiculous. I'm going to show you a little thing. I'm just going around a corner here. Look, this is just up kind of where I live, and you see the lake there. It's not a great morning, but just to give you a little view as we're driving down this little road here. I hope the police don't come, because this is illegal to hold your phone in British Columbia. Anyway, so this idea, and I think I could really train on this in a more conscious way about this internal dictionary. What is the dictionary that we've inherited that is showing up in the way that we're living? And why can't we go in and redesign the dictionary? In fact, you may have given me a little view, because I'm doing this on the fly. When I push record, I got to be honest, I don't always know what the hell's going to come out of my mouth. I just know that if I push record, that something will come out, that because I don't want to share these thoughts with this mindset that I'm right. I want to share things that I do that work for me. So hopefully if it works for you, or maybe, why does anyone do this? Why does anyone bother to do a recording and throw it up into a social spell or a public space so other people can listen to it? I don't know. Maybe it's ego. I have no idea. But going back to this, right? So my internal dictionary is something that I can, first of all, awareness. With everything, every transformation, there has to be awareness. And awareness is, I'm aware that certain words, certain phrases, and certain thoughts, they have a repercussion that is lower energy, slower movements, resign, fear, doubt, apprehension, uncertainty. All these things are propagated by this dictionary. So then I capture. Oh, look, when I say the word need, I feel like it's heavy. Like I have to do it. It's like I'm being told what to do. Well, freedom's one of my highest values. Then being told what to do does not fit the freedom that I have designed in my life. Because remember, life by design, right? Maybe that's the next show, right? And so then can't, hate, I should do that. Oh God, I should get that done. But so then what I do is first aware, then noticing how it makes me feel, and then what I do is I have to then find the alternative. What's a better solution? So obviously choose is a great word. I choose to do this. Look, you don't need to go to work. You can stay home. Now you may end up on the streets, but it's still a choice, right? I choose to go to work because I want to live in this house. I want to pay rent, or I want to pay my mortgage, right? That's a very, very different energy, right? So the word choose. And then what I do is I have to notice how often, because I'm in the habit, let's say, of using the word need, which I'm not, but let's say I was. And in fact, I catch myself. It's almost like a razor blade. When I do catch myself saying words of low energy, I catch myself, and normally I'll correct myself right away. Because it's not like it doesn't happen, it's just now I'm aware it happens, and because I focus on it, and those neural pathways, those highways in the brain that I've created in the past with my negative low energy stream of language, I now have a new, I'm creating a new pathway. Well, I've just spent 60 years doing the other shit, let's say, and I'm just like you're listening right now, let's say you're my age, right? Then it's going to take me a while to reprogram and build a new freaking highway. So to eradicate the old and build the new is going to take time and practice. And when I catch myself, right? And here's what I find interesting. What comes first, the physiology or the language? Well, I find for me personally, a lot of people say, yeah, just change your state. And Tony Robbins say, change your state, which is great. I agree. Bounce up and down, jump up and down, scream, do all those things, power move. I get all that. Physiology leads it. And what I do is I do it in conjunction with my dictionary. So, so this is consciously rewriting the book, consciously catching myself in any kind of, doubt-filled thought process, and then deciding what I want my dictionary definitions to mean, rewriting them, and then over time practicing them, right? So if I can't walk in the gym, by the way, and someone says, how you doing? I say, great, right? Well, great has an energy to it. It has a sound to it. It has a cadence to it. It has a movement. I can't say great and move like my, life sucks. Great. Oh yeah, it's great, thanks. Right? That reminds me of a story in Israel. When I lived in Israel, in Hebrew, shalom, hello, have a good day, whatever. And mashlomcha, how are you? Mashlomek was for a woman or my name. So you can say, how are you? Right? And every single person I knew in Israel would say, beseda, which is okay. Beseda, mashlomcha, beseda. Right? And so I was like, I don't want to be okay. So this is in 1984. So this must have started a while ago. My understanding of language, I was unconscious back then. So I asked someone, I said, well, how do I say excellent? And he said, well, metzuyan. And I'm saying, okay. So people started to say to me, shalom, mashlomcha. And I'd say, oh, metzuyan. And people looked a bit shocked because no one said excellent. Everyone's, בסדר, בסדר, בסדר. My Jewish friends now, I joke because it's like, how you doing? Okay, I'm okay. They don't speak Hebrew, but they say just, I'm okay. It's like, okay, right? So I started saying Metzuyan. It's so funny that after a while, my friends that I work with all the time, I'd say, Shalom, מה שלומך? And so they wouldn't say בסדר, which is okay. They'd say Metzuyan, but this is how they say it. So this is me, Shalom, and they'd say Shalom, and then I'd say to them, מה שלומך? And they'd say Metzuyan. So they said excellent the same way they said okay. So even though they changed the language, they didn't change the cadence, the tonality, the energy, or the physiology. Everything was the same, and so it's like בסדר, that's yeah, like that, right? So again, just to sort of wrap this in a bow, we all have a book, an internal dictionary, and we all get to choose what's in that book, how it looks, how it sounds, right? And again, and that book will determine very, very easily, how we end up living our life. And again, this isn't fake it until you make it, ladies and gentlemen. This is simply I'm in my garage now. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is conscious living. This is redesigning the language of our life so that we can create an incredible life. So catch yourself, be conscious, and take a little notebook or use your notes in your phone. Every time you say, there's a negative word, there's a low energy word, write it down. Find the opposite, and then attempt to do your best over time, weeks and months, right, to rewrite the book, and then start to add the intonation and the velocity and the movement, and that way people will say, oh my God, he's always in such a good mood. Yeah, I am. With us all back, or with any other shit going on. I mean, I can still feel great when shit's going on, right? So with that being said, please join me on social media, David T.S. Wood on Instagram, David T.S. Wood on Facebook, and please subscribe. If you push the notification bell, every time a new show comes out, it'll let you know. Whether you want to watch it or not, you can decide, but at least you'll get it. If you push and play it, by the way, when you're cleaning your teeth or something, it does register, and that does help us reach more people. But sharing it, commenting, all these things, if you can take the moment to do it, will really help. And I will definitely see you on the other side.